Welcome everyone to the pit. Thank you for those watching on YouTube, Facebook, and the Mountain West Network. A reminder, please silence your cell phones. If your cell phone ring is the fight song, we're going to let it slide. That'd be okay. The procedures, just so everyone has it, Eddie Nunez will speak, and then we'll introduce our new head coach. Afterwards, we'll have a time for media questions. We do have 2 microphones, so just kind of get a look at me. We'll get a microphone to you, please. I know some of you were here last time Coach Mendenhall was here, Rick, and Van. But please go ahead and state your name and affiliation. And then afterwards, Coach Mendenhall will not be doing one-on-ones, so we'll get to all your questions. Eddie Nunez will do one-on-ones. We do have some players here if you guys want to get some interviews with the players. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the Vice President and Director of Athletics, Mr. Eddie Nunez.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here today. First of all, let me, I guess, go a step back. My voice is a little bit cracking from the craziness we've been going through for the last couple of days, so I apologize in advance if you hear it go up and down a little bit. It's a special day for Lobo Athletics, and even more for our Lobo football program. I want to take a moment to recognize some people in the audience. First of all, if you look around, we got student athletes, we got great Lobo supporters, some of our great coaches. This is what makes Lobo Athletics and the University of New Mexico a special, special place. Of course, I want to say thank you to President Stokes. I know she's not here right now. She is actually presenting in Santa Fe, but we do have someone representing, I think, Teresa, there she is, Teresa Constantinides, our Executive Vice President from the university, and then, of course, our regents. Those 3, between our president, our university administration, and our regents, make this an opportunity that we can do some special, special things here. There's alignment from top to bottom. Next, I want to say thank you to some of my staff. Everyone on our staff was instrumental during this part, but more than anybody, and I think everyone here understands how much I trust my staff, but I thank you to Dave Williams for taking the lead with this and really trying to keep me level-headed as much as I could. But also Ryan, Jalen, Ed, everyone who's had a part in this. Truly, we cannot do this without them, so thank you guys. Lastly, but truly the most important one, my family, as well as Coach Mendenhall's family, Jane, my girls, Holly, and I know there's still one other boys that will be here tonight. But anyone who's gone through this process understands how difficult, how challenging it can be, not just ourselves, but our families. So thank you. All right, there we go. There you go. Technology, that's where I have Dave and others to help me out with too. But I really appreciate it. Thank you for your patience in this time. The process. I know everybody always asks how this happened and how we got to where we are. We were swift, but we were thorough. I will tell you, about a week ago, I had the opportunity to call Bronco as he and Holly were driving to go pick up their son. And during that conversation, we talk about making sure that we understand who we are and what we're about. I knew that at that point, how authentic he and his family were, but that the trust factor that we needed to have with the coach. I asked him point blank, Coach, if I ask you for this opportunity, would you come? He said, absolutely. And I knew then that he would be our coach, but I wanted to let the process go because I owed it to this university to make sure we did it thorough. But as soon as Dave and I met with him in Vegas, he walked out. I knew he was our coach. I knew it then. I knew it the week before. And I'm even more proud now to see him as our coach. With that, I want to formally introduce our head coach of our Lobo football program, Bronco Mendenhall. I'll take you over with you.
Yeah, I didn't quite expect to be emotional. That's kind of caught me off guard there for a second. So just, yeah, hang for a minute. First of all, so Holly and I, 25 years ago, gosh, I'm looking at the players right now, and man, just a little bit older than you guys. And our first son was born here, and this was one of the places we launched our career. And who would have known 17 years later as a head coach that we'd be back in Albuquerque? And it's an amazing experience, and I'm grateful. So I'd like to introduce you to my family quickly. Some of you know them. For those that don't, you hired a team. You didn't just hire a head coach. Holly and I are kind of co-head coaches, meaning that when I'm working, she does everything else. And for you moms and spouses, that's an impressive and amazing job, and a powerful and meaningful job to raise families and navigate all that comes with someone leading a football program and other people's children and young men. And so my wife Holly is here. My oldest son, who was born in Albuquerque, his name's Cutter, and Cutter will be in this evening. He's a senior at Brigham Young University, so he'll come in this evening and he'll be here for a couple days. My middle son, Breaker, is here, and my youngest son, Raider. And so it's important to me to know that, yeah, you'll be seeing the name and my presence as the head football coach, but I hope every time you see that, right, your thoughts are immediately going to the support and the others that this is what they're doing to allow me to do this. And without what they do and who they are, the players then don't get my best. And that's not okay. So I am very grateful for this opportunity. The University of New Mexico has a special place in my heart. Otherwise, right, I would not be here. This program, I know, is capable of sustained success, continued success, and excellence. I've been part of it, I've seen it, and I'm looking forward to recapturing that, right, not only occasionally, but consistently, right? And so the program to be established to where there is success, and defining success is a powerful thing. Yes, on the field matters, and postseason absolutely matters, and I like to win, I think, more than anyone in the room. So absolutely do we want that. Now, how that's accomplished, I love developing young men of integrity and character and intellect, socially aware, and players that are willing to give back. And if that doesn't happen in place of winning, then this isn't a successful program. If that only happens and we don't win, that's not a successful program, right? We want the best of everything at the University of New Mexico. And that is what I hold myself to, what I want you to expect from me. And when that happens, what the stadium looks like, how the players carry themselves, the identity and branding of the institution, of the state, is influenced by the University of New Mexico's football program. I get all of that, and I'm passionate about that. And there shouldn't be any better ambassadors, right, than the young men that I'm looking at right now. Like, who else would you want? That would be my hope, is you look at these guys, yep, that's us. That's what I hope. Those guys, yeah, that's us. Who else would we want? And so again, just to solidify that concept, on the field, we expect excellence, but also everywhere else. And so this isn't a program that makes compromises. This is a program of and. We want it all. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with Eddie, to also work with Dave. Both of them have, you get to know a lot about people in a very short amount of time, so it's not a complete knowledge, but it is a knowledge, and it's a great start. And that start gives you the place to launch from. And that's all we're doing today. We're launching from a great start with lots and lots and lots of work to do. And that's an amazing thing. It's why we are here, Holly and I, and the staff that's coming. We love hard things. And there's a concept of doing hard things together that galvanizes relationships. And the harder, the better. The gratification is increased, the harder the better. And when success comes, which it will, with difficulty, man, that becomes transformative to not only people, but relationships. And those become binding forever. And that's exactly what I want. Otherwise, it's just football. I want more than football. I actually want championship football. and then amazing relationships. And so my commitment is just that, to run an amazing football program that has excellence on the field, but develops young people of excellence while we're playing well and while we're performing well. And I hope that's what the University of New Mexico wants. I hope that's what ends up representing this community and our institution at the highest level. And the track record shows, as being a head coach for 17 years, 16 of those teams have been bowl eligible, right? So the likelihood this happens, I think is likely. Is it going to take work? Absolutely. Am I excited for that? I'd just as soon take off my jacket. I already have short sleeves on, and I would take the tie off and we go. And so this is an important step in terms of the press conference, but now to say, what do I really want to be doing? I'm kind of moving already this way to get back to the office to continue crafting, developing, and moving the program forward because the clock is ticking already. Again, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and to President Stokes as well. We had a conversation yesterday. I'm aligned and passionate about this program, and I'll do the very best I can on behalf of us all. So thank you very much.
We'll open up for questions. Again, please get the microphone. Question and follow-up. We'll get to everybody. State your name and where you are from, please.
I just looked up and saw everyone over here. Sorry, I wasn't making eye contact. I wasn't trying to ignore you. Thanks for being here.
Let's start with Sean over here.
Sean Ryder, Albuquerque
Sean.
Journal. You've been relatively candid about, how much you embrace and enjoy rebuilds and the like. With the modern landscape of college football, which you saw towards the tail end of when you were at Virginia, in terms of the portal and NIL, how does that change things in terms of building a program right now?
It changes things drastically. And I think first I need to acknowledge when we think about the transfer portal, and it's easy to see that only as a negative. College football coaches, coaches have done that for a long time. They call it the coaching carousel. And for the players' version of that, it's the portal. So a lot of times you see coaches that sometimes leave their teams before a bowl game and take another job, right? And you see coaches moving around, and those are the adults in the room, right? I think all that's happened is the young people now have a chance to benefit from name, image, and likeness, and sometimes they're leaving for a bigger opportunity, more money, and so the monetization is changing the game. I love the idea of young people developing and being able to benefit from the work they put in. I'd love that to be tempered with the commitment, loyalty, and I would say team orientation to really consider all that before a move is made. And it's easy for any of us to think only of ourselves when we move. I would love to build a program where the relationships and the development and the culture is so strong that would cause anyone to pause before they'd ever think about leaving. And then I think the young person is educated well enough to be able to make a great decision. My job is to educate them before they make those decisions. And so it's changed significantly in terms of the portal as well as NIL, so it's different than it's ever been. A lot of times that's viewed negative. There's also players from other programs that maybe have been overlooked. Maybe they're late developers, and maybe they're capable for a different level. And New Mexico is a place that they could come and increase and benefit at a greater level from where they were. So it works in all different ways. It's just really more difficult now, the fluid nature of a roster and how it can change literally every year. And I would much rather have a consistent roster from beginning to end. That will be my goal. Very difficult in today's landscape for that not to change to some level any given year other than graduation is what I'm seeing.
And then you took a full season off, 2022. I believe the term was to reach a period of maximum renewal. When did you kind of know that you were finally ready to come back?
Yeah, about a day after I chose to pause. Mostly, I think Holly was ready maybe a half a day after I paused. We've done an amazing work. Two of my boys are here. We finished a home in Montana. We have a ranch in Montana. Chapter 2 of our lives is established for our kids and eventual grandkids with a target to be ready to re-enter. And so there was an intentionality to it as well. And so it's nice to be prepared for any storm that comes and have complete devotion and attention only to what really matters at the time. And so I really love where we are, and I think the players will benefit from that as well. Thanks for the questions.
Right here, Tamara Lopez from KOB4. I wonder what you will be able to share about your contract deal, how long we can expect to see you here, and as well as how you can measure success in terms of whether that be getting to a bowl game, or how you guys are going to measure your success as the new head coach this year.
Yeah, I think the contract details will probably be shared by the university and through Eddie whenever that happens. And so whenever they would like to share that, I'm great for that to be shared. And in terms of measuring progress, I like to win. And I'd rather be playing football right now than having a press conference. And that's my expectation. The longer the season goes, the more I like it. And the sooner that happens and the more consistently that happens, the more I like it. While young men are graduating, while they're contributing to the community, while they're developing amazing relationships, while they're becoming the best version of themselves. So when football's over, they're exceptional also, but they also know who they are without football. And that's one of the biggest challenges for any of us is, does our performance define us? I would love them to know how important that is, but also when football is done, for them to know and be ready for whatever life throws at them, and they're prepared and capable. And collectively, that's how I'll measure it. I know from the world's view, it will come through wins. So let's just say that out loud. And great. And then I'll be working, the how I do it is another part of how I'll measure it.
Oh, are we on? Maybe. Yeah, Bethany Miller with KOAT Action 7 News. Nice to meet you. I know it's been a whirlwind week, but have you had a chance to talk to the players of the roster that's coming over? I know if you were in attendance. And sort of what's your plan for speaking to them and hopefully keeping them here in Albuquerque?
I was able to have a chance to talk to our team last night collectively, and it's my favorite part. And eager and optimistic and hopeful and engaged is how I would describe what I saw last night. And a lot of players on the front of their seats, the edge of their seat, with complete and intense eye contact, with nodding and I think eager to get this process going and to move New Mexico football forward. And then some have already entered the transfer portal, and my intent is to visit with each of them. They'll have an opportunity to then join us or move on. Once that roster is clarified, then the clock is ticking in terms of recruiting already. And so then we'll move to that to get the very best roster we can, the very best people we can that fit and align with the direction we're going. And so a lot to do in a short amount of time. I remember you.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's good, Bronco?
You're older now.
Yeah. Well, hey, good seeing you, man. Hey, so last time you were here, this place was rocking, about 36,000 per game, like it averaged that. How do you get the fans back?
It starts with this, sharing the vision, and that helps capture hearts and minds. And when hearts and minds are captured with understanding the direction and then seeing checkpoints marked along the way of, wait, this is working, and this is working. And then games and wins happening, right? It's a gradual process. I told the team last night, in my first year here, we won 3 games. The next year we won 4. The next year we won 5. The next year we won 6. The next year we won 7. A lot of people think it just jumped right to the 36,000. It was 3, and then we worked as hard as we possibly could, and then we won 4. And then we worked as hard as we possibly could, and then we won 5. And then we laid exhausted, winning 6. And then when we didn't think there was any more, we won 7. And then as I transitioned out, then we won 8. And that's that process, I think, has to be acknowledged and what that looked like. And then it went from whatever the number was to start to 36,000. My hope is to expedite that whole process in that time frame rather than 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. But that's what it took before. And I'm anxious to make that a shorter but as effective window of Lobo football.
And I know you talked about a coaching staff. Are you bringing your entire coaching staff, or are you going to keep any of the guys around here, or how's that going to work?
I'm bringing all my own coaches, and they're coming from different paths along my career and different ages and stops. And many wanted to drive last night to be here this morning, and they're eager. They love the principles and the manner in which the programs that I lead are operated in. They believe in that with all their heart. They feel grateful to have this opportunity. They'll be arriving, hopefully not breaking speed limits if they choose to drive, but you'll love these coaches. They are amazing examples for young people. Wow, are they skilled as young professionals, and I think will cherish this opportunity to transform not only a program but young people, and that's why they were chosen. And you'll love them, but they'll be on their way as soon as I can get approval to get them on a plane and get them here.
Albuquerque Journal.
I remember you too, Rick. Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Before this job came open, and it was relatively late in the process, a lot of jobs had already come open. Had you already decided that this was the time you were going to come back?
I didn't, and went through the process actually along the way with others. And Holly and I had a really good idea of a kind of place that we'd be looking for. And as you know, I like the process of transforming. And I like the process of helping a program either become or re-become. It was one of the reasons I went to the University of Virginia. I happened to be lucky enough to be able to inherit a process like that at BYU, where there'd been 3 losing seasons and a pretty rough spot where I was able to help that program. We wanted a chance to help a program re-become or become. A chance to do it at a place that was special and meaningful to us ended up gaining momentum through the process, but we were considering others as well.
Regarding following up on Van's question about staffing, are there any names that we'll be familiar with that had a history here like yourself?
Gosh, no is the answer. but I hope through almost like genealogy relationship, by knowing me, you know them, right? So I hope they're an extension of the best parts of me, and I hope they make up for the deficiencies that I have and help balance those out. But that'd be the best way I'd say it. If you know me, you'll know a lot about them. Oh, thanks. Hey.
Hello, hello. Oh, hi. Lauren Green with KOB4. It's a pleasure to meet you, Coach. You've had a pretty successful career looking at your 17 seasons. Out of 16 of those teams have been bowl eligible. What do you attribute to the success of rebuilding those teams, and how do you hope to approach that here now in New Mexico?
It starts with expectations. The higher the expectations, the more love that has to accompany that. And so the demand will be beyond what maybe has ever been experienced before at UNM. And again, I've coached here with really good coaches that have very high demand. And I have tremendous respect for Rocky Long and Danny both. And they have high expectations. I have to elevate the expectations even more, which I do. At the same time, the care and relational component of each of these individuals have to be at a higher level as well. And when you combine those two things together, it's amazing what type of performance increase you can get, but also what kind of experience these kids can have. And I've seen them completely exhausted and smiling at the same time, and then saying thank you after maybe doing the hardest thing they've ever done. And so it starts with expectations. And quite frankly, anytime that a program is taken over, the roster will change. Some will not like the approach, and it won't be for them. Others will gravitate to it and see it. It has to be so clear and defined that it attracts those that want it. So our culture and our expectations and methodology has to be so precise that everyone can see it, and then they can align with it and are drawn to it. And so I like to compete by differentiation and how specific and distinct we can become, where the brand is specific, the methodology is specific, and then that attracts the right people. And those that are in the program either feel great, this is the place for me, or they say, you know what, this isn't the place for me. But that clarity helps everyone.
Bronco.
I remember you too.
We're both younger. Yeah. Roger Holy and Mountain West Wire. Defense. Will you be calling the defense?
I won't, no. As much fun as that is, and as much as I miss it, there comes a time for every head coach, and especially when you're taking on programs that might be in a deficit or that are re-becoming, right? And there's a lot of other things as well that need to be done. The competitive work never takes a back seat to that, but coaching coaches, connecting schemes, make sure complementary football is being played, the attraction of players. To be a great defensive coordinator, it almost has to be an obsession. And same with an offensive coordinator. That's great for one side of the ball when the head coach is doing that. You have to have complete trust on the other side. My obsession is with the entirety of the organization, and that allows, the question earlier was the consistency. How has that happened? It's that approach of a comprehensive intensity and obsession rather than just a one side of the ball obsession. And that's, I think, is the best approach.
piggybacking off of Roger's question too, obviously you made your name here with the 3-3-5 before switching to a more traditional 3-4 at both BYU and Virginia. I mean, just schematically, what is your vision for the defense and then offense as well?
Yeah. So my philosophy is pretty simple. It's who first, then what. And so I'm looking hard at our existing roster and then who we attract to join our program. I love to maximize resources. I'm not the coach that then says this is our only scheme, and that limits who you can bring to that scheme. And what if not? What if those players aren't the ones that are drawn to you? I love to see who I have and maximize those resources. And there can be significant changes or subtle changes game to game or actually year to year. So whatever our roster looks like, I need coaches that can maximize and know enough football to deliver who we have. That's the best benefit to our players, to give them a competitive advantage every single week. Now, when like-minded, if we have a quarterback that's dynamic and can run, that most likely will recruit, by his presence, will recruit the next one. And so there could be a seamless succession of the style of play, but what if the next great quarterback, right after the one we have, man, he wants to come to UNM and he's a great passer. If my staff can't adapt to maximize that and that quarterback is one of the best in the country, that's a coaching failure to me. And so you'll see flexibility, you'll see adaptation, and you'll see hybrids. I also believe that the hardest things to play against or to fight against in the world of warfare are things you can't name. Once you say wishbone, I can prepare for the wishbone. Once you say run and shoot, I can prepare for that. Once you say air raid, I can prepare. What if you can't name it? Where do you start preparation-wise? I like that approach for UNM, where they don't know what they're going to see or what they're going to get.
You know, when you had the time off, what have you learned from that on the outside looking in instead of being at the games? You know, like watching other coaches do their craft and you thinking about the time when you were out on the field. What have you learned from that that'll help you now?
One of the greatest and most enjoyable things is I had was able to lead a podcast called the Head Coach University podcast over the past 18 months or so. Approximately 50-ish head coaches that I've had on, and it's been an amazing opportunity with others listening to educate folks, but also to have a dialogue about what's the best way to lead in today's landscape. And those conversations, I think, are impactful and meaningful. And that part, besides watching the games, having the dialogue, I don't think there's any coach in the country that's had a chance to talk to about 50, I don't know the exact number, so somewhere in there, that number of skilled and successful leaders about just what you asked me to do. And so I think that's, man, that'd be almost the equivalent of a doctorate study, right, in leadership and Division I football today. Going back to that, almost every conversation within that, either off air or on air, then talked about NIL and the collective. And so if we're saying the role of college football today, it used to be where one of the primary indicators of a program's commitment to football was what their facilities look like. The stadium, the offices, et cetera. While that's still important, another factor has now trumped that. Another factor has become more meaningful, and that's what kind of support financially can the kids have. Whether we like that or not, right? The reality is the commitment to football a lot of times is manifest now in what the collective funding looks like. And that's a brand new era. And so, yes, the facilities have to be state-of-the-art and industry standard at least. The commitment, the coaching, certainly. But this era now requires an amazing resource for the student-athletes and management of that through collectives. And who would have thought in college football that would be part of it? But not only is it a part of it, it's an essential part of it. And that's also a priority for me, to benefit not only the community, to get the roster and maintain the right kind of young people. And I would say this, it's not only the attraction that the collective can help with, it's the retention. The kids that we love right now in our program, the kids we love in our program, if you want them to stay, right? There's a competitive marketplace out there, and as much as I love them and they love me, and they know the trajectory of the program, we have to be able to compete also on that plane. And I think that's super important, and I hadn't addressed that, but that's, in most of those conversations, again, either on air or off air, and the head coaches that called me yesterday, the number one thing they were talking about was that component. So that's going to be integral into this, the growth and again, the renewal of this program.
Coach, Will Weber from the Santa Fe newspaper. You strike me as someone who enjoys a challenge. And
that's an understatement, right?
And there are some inherent challenges with this particular post. It has a national reputation for what it is.
Yep.
from facilities and lack of financing to fan support, and there's not a huge recruiting base here. But I would imagine you came here for a reason. You thought that you can turn this thing into a competitive program in a conference where we've seen it before, where UNLV came up from the pack. Do you see, what is your game plan for that, and do you actually believe that this can be done here?
I know it can be done. It's not only I believe. It's not only do I believe it. I know it can be done. I've been part of it being done here before. Every challenge comes with an opportunity, and each place has distinct opportunities and challenges. So we identify the challenges, we identify the opportunities, we develop an organizational design to address and magnify both of those things. We bring the right people in place to surround ourselves with. We give them schematic and strategic designs that will deliver the type of kids that will come, and we have a culture that's unmatched, hopefully with the right support. And over time, how much time? Less the better, then the results come. And I know it can be done. We all know because we've seen it. And I know it can be done. I want it to be done. I wouldn't have taken this job unless I thought I was the person to do it. And is it a challenge? What better challenge to take? I love it.
Lee Faria, KOB TV.
Hey.
Coach, when you have a brand new program that you're trying to build, and obviously you say you like challenges, what will the importance of spring ball be to be successful in the fall?
It's an indicator, but it's not defining. And a lot of times the roster is not the same roster you have in the fall, but it's essential. So I believe culture precedes performance, and spring ball is an essential part after the off-season. So the off-season program starts the culture development. Spring ball helps manifest and take that to another level. The players then within the program are becoming more aligned with the program through the culture. It then is attracting others to it, but culture is priority number one with the selection of the right people. Those two things happen at the right time and kind of at the same time. Spring practice, based on the roster that you have. Sometimes existing injuries from your team, they're not healed yet. Sometimes the roster with the coaching transition isn't deep enough to have the ideal spring that you'd like to have. So one of the first improvisations as well as distinctions has to happen in spring. What type of spring will it be? That usually is based on the who we have, and then I got to customize it that way. Impact will still be strong no matter what, and it's essential. How much it will be a lot of what the roster looks like that we have going into the spring.
Anybody else?
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
One more time. We've seen in the past recruiting from in-state New Mexico high schools has been a big pillar of programs. Do you think that's something that you may want to consider continuing as you regrow and rebuild the program?
I think it's great for the community. I think it's great for UNM, and I think it's great for the young people. When you can play close to home, and if you can represent your hometown, I think that's awesome. And so I think we have to be excellent in our footprint, which starts here in Albuquerque. But there also has to be more than that. So yes, it's a priority. I think it's essential. And I think for the well-being, again, of the community, the school, but those kids that are playing close to home, I think there's a special experience that happens that way that's a little bit different than when you're farther away. Both are great, but yes, we'll continue that.
Anything else from the media?
Over here. Last one. Oh, second to last one.
And did you ever imagine that you would be back here?
No, I didn't. And that's been about a three week-ish, 2 weeks. I'm looking at Holly for help, and she's not helping me. About a 2 week acknowledgement of, wait, we're going to be back at UNM. And it's been fun to see my boys' reactions because they don't remember it. And as they'd had a chance to drive around and look at possible places where we might stay while we're here, and that's been really fun to see. And it feels like not only full circle, but an additional circle. You know, some people say full circle like you get back and stop. I kind of see this as an additional circle, which is, I like that concept.
Coach, Robert Portnoy, voice of the Lobos. I wondered your passion for the growth and development of young people. Where does that come from?
Well, what I've learned is, for me, if that's not the focus, football is just a game. And for a game to take an investment of this much time, energy, and effort, almost to complete obsession, if nothing else is happening other than the game, that's hard to reconcile. But yet, when I see the potential of who these guys are, and then who they become, and how that lasts when the game is over, that to me is more impactful and more meaningful. And so football to me is the platform to develop amazing young people from. And I usually frame it as championship football is the platform to do it from, which is still the standard. Who they become comes and is influenced by how you coach and how you lead the program. That is the lasting component. And I'll just share one quick story with the text when I chose to pause and stepping away from Virginia. The texts I received from the former players of the many, many, many that came in, one, and that was just recently, mentioned a game, a score, or a season. One. Every other one of the large sample size was moments of relationship and gratitude of thank you for, and they didn't mention the outcome. And that to me has been a great reinforcement of the direction, and it's sustaining for me when things are difficult. Appreciate that question. And for your time. For faces that I've seen before that are older now, it's good to see you. For faces that I haven't seen, I'm looking forward to a great relationship. And for the supporters that have remained with UNM, yeah, that's special. And I've seen different programs where the support comes and goes. To see some of the same remain, there's a special quality to that. So I appreciate that. Thank you all. I'm really excited.
So again, thank you everybody for coming today. We're going to have some other opportunities to ask questions. I know Coach has to get back because he's going to finish meeting with some of the student athletes before they break away. So again, thank you everybody for being here. This is a great opportunity, and looking forward to football season. Let's go.